So, me and my mom found an estate sale a few neighborhoods down from us while we were on our morning walk. She and I have a summer routine of waking up at 6 and walking the neighborhoods before breakfast. The house was one of the largest in the neighborhood and presumably the oldest. Or let's say, most worn in amongst the other houses. At first, we didn't know if it was open to the public yet, but the front door was propped open with a wooden sign that literally said, "Come inside." So we went inside. A few steps in, my mom calls out, "Hello?" But the house felt empty. We walked through a few other rooms on the main floor and nothing had price stickers on it or looked like it was ready for sale. It was like we'd randomly walked through someone's existing life. There were dishes in the sink and an open book on the kitchen counter. It was weird. I think my mom was feeling uncomfortable too, because she kept saying hello as we'd walk through from room to room. Each wall was adorned with family photos and trinkets from a lifetime of collecting. In one of the rooms is a beautiful mosaic lighthouse lamp that my mom really wanted. We would have left sooner if she hadn't found something she really liked. At the bottom of the stairs leading to the next floor, my mom thinks she hears people talking upstairs. I can also hear the sound of muffled walking and talking coming from upstairs, so we head up to the second floor, hoping to find anyone who could tell us what's for sale and how much. As we're walking up, the sounds that we were hearing from downstairs started to get quieter. By the time we stepped up to the second level, the house had become silent once again. The second floor was empty, just like the first. After a thorough look and walk around, I hear almost the same thing, muttered chattering and walking in the distance, only for a moment, and then silence again. My mom suggested we go back downstairs. She expects we'll find people there. But we don't. We find the place as empty as we did the first walkthrough. My mom grabs my shoulder, saying, "Let's get out of here," and swiftly walks us out the front door. No idea what that place was, but I felt a great sense of relief walking out those doors. A few days ago, I moved into a real house after 10 years of living in a tiny one-bedroom apartment. The only reason I could afford it was because a woman had killed her daughter in the guest bathroom. The family was desperate to be done with the place. Though I deeply sympathize with the tragic loss they suffered, I didn't really mind a house with sordid history. I've never believed in ghosts, bad juju, or any of that stuff. By the time I moved in, the murder was over a year in the past, and the home had been professionally cleaned. The mother was able to continue living there for a few weeks before the body was discovered during a welfare check. But the neighbors behaved as if I was moving in the day after it had happened. Some checked their mail, washed their cars, while others peeked through their blinds. But not a single one introduced themselves or offered to help me unload the U-Haul. Don't get me wrong, I didn't expect them to. In fact, I'd been dreading it. But if they were going to gawk anyway, I would have appreciated a little help with the bookshelves. It's perfectly natural for them to wonder who would buy such a house, but they didn't have to wonder. I'd have been happy to answer their questions. The sooner they got over the novelty of me moving in, the sooner I could settle into a boring suburban life. Well, as it turns out, they had more to gawk about than I realized. My first night was completely normal until I went to bed. It was just after midnight. I was totally exhausted. I don't even remember passing out. I just know it was almost 2 a.m. when I woke up to the sound of a child screaming. I leapt out of bed, confused and disoriented from being in a new house, and stumbled my way to the light switch. I was just starting to wonder if I dreamt the whole thing when the house was filled with a very distinct sound of splashing water, a child crying for help. I ran to the bathroom out of pure instinct. When I got there, the door was locked, but the light was on, and I could see shadows moving inside. My first thought was of an intruder, but why would someone break in solely to wreak havoc in my bathroom? I pounded on the door as the screaming continued, but it wouldn't budge. Finally, I ran to the kitchen, hoping to find something skinny enough to wedge into the opening, and everything instantly fell silent. When I returned, the door opened easily, the light was off, and there wasn't a drop of water in the tub. I checked every room just to be sure, before collapsing into bed and sleeping through till morning. The sunlight made everything from the previous night seem like a bad dream, and I would have convinced myself that's what it was if I hadn't woken up with a spatula in my hand. I went for a run to clear my head, met one of the neighbors on my route. She asked how my first night was, and something about the look on her face made me tell the truth. Thank goodness, too, because she would have never told me what she knew if I hadn't. Apparently, several people have heard screams coming from my house, and even on quiet nights, they've seen the bathroom light on. The strangest part about that is that the power was shut off until the day I moved in. The first time anyone saw it, they called the police, but there was no sign of squatters. Nothing else happened until last night, when I woke up to the sound of footsteps barreling down the hallway. A louder, heavier pair seemed to be right behind the smaller, lighter set, and I could practically see the mother chasing her poor daughter into the bathroom. I half expected to hear the door slam despite leaving a chair on the threshold, but everything fell silent when the footsteps reached the end of the hall. I barely slept the rest of the night. I kept dreaming that a little pale girl was watching me from the corner of the room. I'd open my eyes and imagine shapes in the darkness. Half the time, I don't know which moments were real and which ones were imaginary. The bottom line is, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I really don't want to spend another night in that house, but I have nowhere else to go. My entire life savings is tied up in a haunted piece of shit that nobody wants. Seriously, what the hell am I gonna do?